She came to my porch with a smile sharp enough to cut glass, holding a paper that said, $10,000 fine for using the sun to light my own home. When the cops pulled up behind her, I realized she wasn't bluffing. But what she didn't know was that the power she tried to control was about to control her. My name's Jake Harris, and I live up in northern Idaho, right by Silver Pine Lake. It's quiet out here, the kind of quiet that makes you forget time exists. I built my cabin with my own hands, installed solar panels, thought I'd finally escape the noise, the rules, the endless city lights. Turns out the rules just put on nicer clothes and moved into the woods with me. Her name was Carol Winters, president of the HOA for 6 straight years. Pink blazer, clipboard in hand, perfume that smelled like authority. The first morning she showed up, I was drinking coffee watching the mist roll off the lake. Thought she was here about the fishing contest or the trail cleanup. Nope, she said, you're in violation of Section 14B, unauthorized power source installation. I blinked. Carol, it's solar panels. She tilted her head like I'd just said something adorable. Doesn't matter what it is, it's not approved. I laughed. That was my first mistake. Her smile fell flat, and she leaned close enough I could see the reflection of my porch light in her eyes. You can either remove them, she said, or I'll have you fined, maybe even arrested. Then she turned and walked away, her heels clicking like a metronome counting down to war. The letter came 2 days later. Official HOA letterhead. $10,000 fine for sunlight. I walked straight to the office trailer near the community center. She was there typing like a queen running her tiny kingdom. Morning, Carol, I said. I think you mailed me someone else's fine. She looked up, that plastic smile again. No mistake, Jake. You were warned. I asked if she even knew how solar panels worked. They reflect light. She said they disturb the lake view. They lower property perception. She said that word perception like it was holy. That was when I realized this wasn't about rules. It was about control. After that, things got weird. Cars slowed down near my cabin. Neighbors whispered by the mailbox. One morning I caught Carol standing by the lake with a camera aiming at my roof. I told her she was trespassing. She said I was non-compliant. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept wondering maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'd missed something in the contract. I read every page, no mention of solar panels. Not one. But when people like Carol run out of rules, they make new ones. A week later she showed up again with 2 cops. She pointed at me like she was swearing in court. This man refuses to comply with HOA regulations. One of the officers looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. What regulations? I asked. She ignored the question. You have until sunset or I'll take it to the county board. That's when I saw it, how much she enjoyed this. The little thrill of having power over someone. She didn't knock like a neighbor. She knocked like a judge. That night I sat on my porch, lights off, thinking about how fast peace turns to war when control walks through the door. I didn't want to fight. But sometimes peace has to be protected. Sometimes you've got to teach people what power really means. Then came the letter that changed everything. Handwritten, slipped into my mailbox. She did the same thing to the last guy who lived here. No name, no signature, just that. Suddenly I wasn't alone anymore. I started asking around the diner, the hardware store. Everyone had a story. Carol fined a veteran for flying a flag too big. She fined an old woman for hanging wind chimes. Someone else for painting their porch too cheerful. The HOA wasn't a community, it was a dictatorship with a pink blazer. That's when I met Mike Grant, retired electrician. He used to handle HOA maintenance. We talked over coffee one morning. He said, "Funny thing, that control box by the lake, the one she keeps locked, half the street's power runs through it, including her house." I blinked. "You're serious?" He grinned. "Dead serious. She doesn't know. She never listens." And just like that, a dangerous idea started to form. A week later, she called an emergency HOA meeting. Everyone had to show up. I came in late just to make her sweat. She stood at the front of the room, all confidence and hairspray. "Mr. Harris," she said, "do you admit to tampering with HOA property?" I laughed. "The only power I use comes from the sky, Carol. Last I checked, you don't own the sun." A few neighbors chuckled. That sound, the sound of people waking up, it cracked something in her. Her jaw tightened. "You'll regret this," she snapped. I smiled. "Maybe, but I don't think the lights will." That night the wind was cold, the lake was still. I walked down to that old metal box by the dock. The padlock was old rusted. Mike's old key fit perfectly. I pulled the switch, and for the first time in years the Queen lost her crown. Her entire street went dark. By morning, chaos. Phones ringing, people shouting, Carol standing in the middle of it all, screaming at the electric company, "Fix it. We're losing everything." I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, pretending to wonder what happened. The guy off the grid couldn't possibly be to blame. When the power company came, the workers scratched their heads. "No storm, no break. Just a clean trip," one said. I smiled. Must be a coincidence. Carol didn't show up the next day, or the day after. Then came the knock, 3 board members and her lawyer. They were there for an inspection. She looked around my property like a queen inspecting a conquered village. "Your porch lighting reflects on the lake," she said. "Potential glare for nearby properties." I stared at her. "That's Moonlight Carol." She smiled. "Then maybe you should file a complaint with nature." That's when I realized this wasn't about electricity anymore. It was about ego, about breaking me. For a while I almost let her. I stopped going to meetings, stopped answering letters. Thought maybe I should just take the panels down and move on. The fight was exhausting, like shouting at a brick wall that smiled back. But then I remembered something my father once told me. Freedom's only real when someone tries to take it. So I decided to fight. Not with anger, with truth. Mike and a few neighbors helped me gather evidence, financial reports, maintenance logs, pictures. What we found was Wild Carol had been siphoning HOA funds and using that same power line by the lake to feed her own home. When the power company came again to check the blackout, one of the workers opened the box and pulled out a small black device. "This is illegal," he said. "Whoever installed it has been stealing power." Silence fell. Then every head turned toward Carol. Her face went pale. She tried to speak, but her words tripped over themselves. The board members whispered, the lawyer backed away. For the first time, she looked small. I didn't say a word, didn't need to. By evening, she was gone. The board voted to remove her. The county opened an investigation. The pink blazer disappeared from Silver Pine, but the silence she left behind lingered like static in the air. That night, the lake was calm again. No cameras, no rules, just wind and water. I sat on my porch, coffee steaming, staring at my panels glowing faintly under the stars. You know what's funny? After all that, I didn't feel victorious, just tired. Because power's a strange thing. It doesn't disappear, it just waits for someone else to pick it up. And when I looked across the lake, I could have sworn I saw a reflection in the water, bright, sharp pink, just for a second. Maybe it was her. Maybe it was the next one. Either way, I kept the lights off that night, because sometimes real power is knowing when to stay in the dark. Lesson: control isn't always about rules. It's about who you let decide what freedom means.